With the 2026 Xbox Showcase fully wrapped up behind us now, we have finally gotten not only new info on Campaign Evolved in terms of story, gameplay, and whatever these are, we've also finally been given a new release date, which is July 23rd if you pre-order the Premium Edition, and July 28th if you don't. I could get into how stupid of an idea this was to paywall 5-day early access behind a re-release of a 20-plus-year-old game with no PvP multiplayer included, by the way, but we unfortunately don't have all night for that. With the re-release of what some would call Unkslop, depending on your age, and underwhelming after underwhelming release all throughout the 2010s and very early 2020s, it begs the question, does Halo have room to fit within the modern day gaming stratosphere? That is exactly what we'll be talking about today. Hi, my name is J-Mill, and if you enjoy this video, please give it a like so the algorithm notices me, and drop your thoughts on this situation down below in the comment section if you have any.
Halo 3 dropped, bro, like the whole world stopped. That doesn't happen anymore. Everyone was at the midnight release. Like everyone went home and grinded it. You go to school the next day and that'd be all everyone was talking about. Yeah.
Or you'd be like, yo, can you bring it over and play it? Like I remember like when Battlefront 2 came out, it was like, yo, bring it over, like come stay over, we'll play it. Oh yeah, the reality is we're never going back to that.
And that's why like consoles will never feel the same.
The age of the console, like I know consoles, people still do that. Obviously PC is big, but it's pricey. Like I still don't think we'll ever go back to that feel of what a console was.
And like the games that dropped, like every game was fucking good. You also just have so many games coming out now because like Steam getting big and a lot of people moving to PC, a lot of indie devs you can just make games now easier. So just the options you have now, it makes each game feel less important in a way. Whereas back then we were all kind of on the same page of like, oh, this game's releasing, like Uncharted's releasing, BioShock's releasing. Everyone was like in the same fucking time frame. Now there's just too much. I mean, it's kind of the same with like TV shows. Back in the day, like you'd watch the same show every week together.
These streaming services look like Steam, where it's just
exactly
so much on there, and you end up just not playing any of it.
Short answer is yes and no. Just let me explain. Entertainment Software Association, also known as ESA, released their annual study on June 2nd, 2026 that talked about video games' universal appeal across different generations. In this study, it is revealed to us that the average age of the gamer in the United States of America is 37 years old. Honestly, reading that bit of information didn't surprise me as much as I thought it would have. However, another study released on October 20th, 2025 revealed that the average gamer in the entirety of Earth 1 was 41 years old. That is most likely a much higher number now, as that is slightly outdated information, but not by a whole lot of time. Going back to the 2026 study from ESA, it is also revealed to us that 66% of gamers 18 and up are motivated to play video games because they want to pass time and or just relax. Going deeper into this statistic, ESA tells us that the leading generations for this are Boomers, Generation X, and lastly Millennials, in that exact order. Going back to Halo, we gotta remember that it was the go-to first-person shooter all the way back in 2001, all the way up to about 2010. It revolutionized multiplayer games as we know it, as well as a lost art known as split screening. I say it's a lost art because it was just revealed to us today as of June 20th that Campaign Evolved on the PlayStation 5 will have paid. Yeah, so disregard that entire last bit about Campaign Evolved having paid split screen co-op. They came out a couple hours later stating, and I quote, "We incorrectly stated that PlayStation Plus is required for local co-op split screen play. Local split screen co-op requires a PlayStation account for each player, but does not require a PlayStation Plus account." I could see how a new employee could mess this up, but I don't know, man. With how greedy these corporations are, especially Sony, this very well could have been a last minute change due to the backlash received, but hey, it's fixed now, so that's all that matters. Anyways, back to the video. The people who got to experience split screen co-op or even just Halo when it was at its biggest would be our brothers, sisters, uncles, moms, dads, you name it. How I say we as in Gen Z, view games like Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Titanfall 2, or even Fortnite as the pinnacle of multiplayer experiences as a kid or a teenager would be exactly how they view Halo forever, essentially. Some people still buy Call of Duty every year because they're chasing that high they got when they were a kid or teenager coming up. Take Black Ops 6 or even Black Ops 7 for example. They use nostalgia tactics like bringing back fan favorite maps, fan favorite characters and weapons to try and hook on the audience that's grown up and move past it. And it worked because Black Ops 6 was not only the most played Call of Duty beta of all time, it was the most watched, had the most playtime per players, #1 in hours played, etc. So where exactly am I going with all of this information anyways? The answer is yes. Halo absolutely does have room to thrive within current gaming standards because we have to remember the average age of a gamer globally is 41 years old. If we count the United States of America, it's now 37 years old. Those are the people that play to pass time and or relax after a long day of maybe work or even school. Halo, if we are being real, is a game where you can hop on and relax by yourself or with friends for like an hour or two. There's firefight, grift ball, big team battle, custom games like Michael Myers, etc. Because there's not much you have to worry about in Halo due to it having a lower skill ceiling compared to most multiplayer games out. For the most part, you just press forward with the left analog stick and press right trigger. That is why I think if a new Halo game was to be announced tomorrow, they would absolutely support it as much as possible since that's the audience who'd resonate with it the most. That's most likely the demographic that needs a franchise like Halo. Younger generations like Gen Z or Gen Alpha wouldn't really care about it like that. Not saying that's the case for all of them, but majority of them probably will not care for Halo like that. Like me, for example, I was born in 2005, which would be early to mid Gen Z, I think. I would be classified as a minority in this situation because I grew up with Halo as a regularly scheduled game in my rotation coming up. Halo Reach is easily my favorite Halo game of all time and honestly one of my favorite games, period. So yeah, there might be some interest from the younger audience, but probably not enough to sustain it long term since everything is live service and needs to survive for 35,000 years before another game releases. And that brings us to the other half of this discussion, the side that tells me no. It was estimated in 2020 roughly 170 million new players joined the gaming ecosystem. How many of those people bought a PS4, an Xbox, a PC, a Switch, or whatever? I don't know. What I do know is a lot of those players were children because effectively communicating through the internet was the only way to hang out with one another from about 2020 to mid 2022. In that time frame, a brand new mainline Halo game known as Halo Infinite was released. And man, oh man, was that game generational. Generationally ass. Yeah, that was a terrible way to not only introduce new people to Halo, young or old, but also a terrible way to return to the gaming industry as a whole. If I could reverse time, I'd switch Campaign Evolved and Infinite around because at least then I know new and old fans alike will have a good taste in their mouth when remembering Halo. Now when the next mainline Halo game comes out, whenever that may be, people from back in the day who were younger, who have grown up now, are going to see the new Halo and remember Halo Infinite's ass launch and then see the new Halo and then be like, yo, wasn't that last Halo ass, bro? I swear, I remember we played it, bro, back in the pandemic, bro. That shit was trash. Halo Infinite's conditions were open world campaign, no Forge at launch, no co-op campaign at launch, very little maps and playlist, and aggressive microtransactions. Honestly, you can name anything you can think of and it was probably in Halo Infinite. Also, there was no leveling at launch if I'm remembering it correctly. What free-to-play multiplayer experience in the modern day era launches without a progression system, man? At least Highguard and Concord had something for you to work towards. So yeah, I don't blame the younger generation for potentially skipping out on Campaign Evolved, even though I think that's who it's mainly tailored for, or even the next mainline Halo game since they got off on a bad start with the franchise. Also, going back to examples I used earlier when discussing multiplayer games loved by younger people, Titanfall 2, Fortnite, Black Ops 3, Apex Legends, those games generally have higher skill ceilings and are exponentially more fast-paced compared to most games, which yes, includes Halo. The only Halo games that the younger audience would probably enjoy are Halo 5 and Halo 4 since, hot take, please don't blow my shit smooth off, are the only Halo games where you actually feel like a powerful super soldier. Really only Halo 5 though. Halo 4 does not get a pass. You had fast movement, abilities like dashing and Spartan ground pounding, as well as game modes that would enhance said abilities. Like I said, I like Halo multiplayer period, but if you can't tell already, Halo 5 is already one of my most played multiplayers in the franchise. Yeah, Halo Infinite had the grappling hook or whatever, but honestly that doesn't compare to Halo 5's abilities in any way, shape, or form. Which is also why I think Halo 5, 4, and even Reach back in the day were getting so much hate in terms of multiplayer. It is because they started to stray off from what necessarily made Halo Halo, but also because you were raising that entry to enjoyment for the older audience who maybe wanted to just relax after a long day of school and or work. There's a reason why Gen Z and Gen Alpha get called Zoomers by everyone else. Just as there's a reason why Halo consistently gets referred to as Unkslop. Also, there's just too much competition now compared to back in the day. In my video I released earlier in the week, check it out if you haven't already by the way, I discussed this exact topic in more depth if you're interested in that type of stuff. But to sum it up, there's just a lot of high quality games coming out that all excel in something. Expedition 33, its story. Pragmata, its characters and unique combat. Arc Raiders, its multiplayer experience and community. Halo doesn't really have the best feeling shooting as opposed to something like Destiny 2 or Marathon. It doesn't have a deep progression system like Call of Duty. Great Spartan customization though. Story is in the 9 circles because of 343, sorry, Halo Studios. So it's hard to say it'll thrive when you read all the conditions out loud, but at the same time you could also say it will thrive due to the lack of newly released multiplayer first-person shooters in the current gaming ecosystem, as well as the fact that the older audience will probably play it off the strength of just the name itself. I don't know what's going on in that studio or what their plan is, but if their plan is to take Bungie's work, aka Halo 1 all the way through Reach, and bring it up to modern graphics with Unreal Engine 5, Lord only knows what's to come. Listen man, as long as it ensures us as the consumers a brand new fire mainline Halo game, I couldn't care less what they remake, which is something I'll get into for another day. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment your thoughts on the Halo situation down below, and give it a hype stamp as well. You could also check out my other content on the channel and subscribe if you enjoy. I've made a link tree that gives you the direct link to all of my social medias that'll also be in the description of this video and my bio of my YouTube channel. As always, see you later.